We will send your confirmation, your name, to the Senate floor so you can have a full vote on your confirmation. I wish you the very best. And again, to the supporters, very impressive your commentaries with regards to Mr. Xavier's person. I wish you the very best. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to move on with our agenda. Colleagues, we're still on file item number 1. We are with subset B, and that before us is Mr. John Capitman. Did I pronounce it correctly? Capitman? Capitman. Dr. Capitman, you are a member of the San Joaquin Valley Unified Air Pollution Control District Board, which we do have a member who geographically resides in your area, as well as geographically certain portions is the actual state senator who represents that specific area. Before we begin, is there anyone that you'd like to introduce? Okay, fantastic. Well, with that, why don't we start with your testimony? And we'll just wait till the doors close right now. Just hold one quick second. Okay, you can proceed.
Great. Thank you so much. It's really an enormous honor and privilege to be nominated by the governor for a role as one of the 2 non-local government members of the San Joaquin Valley Unified Air Pollution Control District governing board. And I so much appreciate the kindness that's been shown me by you, Paul, and by your staff and everybody in this process. A growing body of research in my own work as a professor at Fresno State indicate that the combination of exposure to air pollution and concentrated poverty is particularly damaging to health. Our kids, our parents, ourselves are all at risk. There's an inadequate public understanding of the causes and solutions to these challenges. In this context, I believe that policies in the Valley, at least, need to promote safe, efficient homes and communities. Most of the key decisions of the Air District's governing board are by law intended to promote population health by reducing exposures to criterion air pollutions and informing the public of these risks. My primary goal on the board is to contribute to the ensuring that its decisions reflect both critical understanding of the best available science and explicit reflection of the region's needs and goals. Our work should reflect commitments to improve health by focusing on the needs of the most disadvantaged and to support maximal public understanding and engagement with environmental decision-making. From my perspective, policymaking should reflect and address the twin goals of promoting a fair and growing economy and improving population health from a cleaner environment. I hope my service on the San Joaquin Valley Unified Air Pollution Control District's governing board can contribute to meeting these goals. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Capitman, for your presentation before us. A couple questions I want to start off. One is obviously air pollution, whether atmospheric obviously is different from air quality, air pollution, CO2 and GHG, which is atmospheric, criteria pollutants in the San Joaquin Valley area, whether it's NOx, whether it's SOx, whether it's particulate matter 2.5, whether it's black carbon, slow-lived climate, short-lived, I should say, climate pollutants has disproportionately impacted geographically an area like the San Joaquin Central Valley area. So issues such as environmental justice is a really critical issue in your area where people at a certain economic strata are more impacted disproportionately by short-lived climate pollutants, black carbon and CH4, as well as NOx, SOx, and PM 2.5. What has the Pollution Control District done so far with regards to applying, if they've applied, for any monies to mitigate the criteria pollutants in the Central Valley from SB 535 from the cap and trade proceeds?
The department, the agency is seeking increased support for its vehicle replacement and both passenger car and truck replacement programs that have been very successful in the past and hopefully will continue to do so. And we're also engaged really at some of the encouragement that I've gotten through this process in reaching out to a variety of public sector and private sector partners throughout the region to look at how we can become engaged in the housing and ag land funds and how they can be applied to the needs in the valley.
I want to see if we can get a little more specific with regards to actual applications submitted for dollars for your geographical area. If it hasn't been done as of yet, that's okay.
It hasn't been done yet.
Okay, that's fine. So that being said, I don't want to make any assumptions on my part. Are there plans for your area? The reason why I stress this, obviously, is in California, geographically, 3 prime areas, that being San Joaquin Valley, the Inland Valley Empire, as well as the Los Angeles Basin, obviously for a whole variety of reasons, are disproportionately impacted by these short-lived, climate pollutants. So these are areas that obviously would stand to benefit from SB 535, which takes 25% of cap and trade auction revenues to mitigate, obviously, the public health impacts, which I would assume that in the area that you govern, from Kern County south all the way to Kings, Tulare, Fresno, Madera, Stanislaus, you have a high impact of asthma rates in this area. Does this district have designs that you know of to draw down and apply for money for mitigation projects?
Again, the principal plans the district itself has are around vehicle replacement funds. We also are very interested in making sure that the Cal EnviroScreen continues to be the basis for acknowledging which communities be targeted.
Sure.
And there's a lot of interest in programs that address transportation and housing issues. The Valley clearly needs more opportunities for people to live closer distances to good jobs.
Well, the Cal EnviroScreen, obviously, coming by way of 535 is the best diagnostic tool that we have, right, to sort of geographically see where resources should be targeted. Let me add one thing, is for your own consumption and that of your peers and colleagues. I know there is some conversations going on right now as we speak. I was just part of one, and hence my tardiness to the Rules Committee of the issue with the agricultural workers and agribusiness, as well as correctional workers who must travel long distances, and busway services that they have to and from. Obviously, they're very long distances, and what can we do to actually replace these types of fossil fuel burning transportation buses to don't know exactly the geographical distance from point A to point B, but with either ZEV, or hybrids or other compressed, natural gas type of vehicles that would reduce, carbon. Since we have a lot of field workers, agricultural workers who work in the fields, obviously you don't want them all in individual cars going from point A to point B, which exasperates and compounds many of the large and medium older type of vehicles. Those conversations are taking place right now, specifically for your geographical area in the San Joaquin Valley area. Obviously, if this comes to fruition, this would help alleviate some of the bad air quality that you have in your area. So I would suggest that your pollution control district engage itself proactively in some of these conversations that are taking place.
We just recently approved new bus services serving actually the airport and the parks, and there are several new proposals for clean bus services to increase public transportation options to far-flung areas of the valley.
Good, it's a good start. So why don't we start with questions or commentaries from our members. Want to start with Ms. Mitchell?
Thank you very much, Senator De Leon. Good afternoon again. We had a good conversation yesterday. I appreciate it. Couple things. First of all, the document, the background document provided to us by Senate Office of Research has some very pointed statements with regard to hydraulic fracturing. I'm not going to go into that here, but I may follow up with you just to get your perspective as a member of a local air board and some of the statements that were made in this document. But to follow up on what we had a conversation on yesterday with regard to general public health and specifically children's health, and we talked about the increased incidence of asthma in your catchment area, for lack of a better term. And we talked about just what that means in general. You made a point, and I wanted to give you the opportunity to talk about it in terms of your concern about really educating kids about really environmental issues generally, and the whole notion of California not having a organized statewide curriculum for K through 12. So could you expand upon that a little bit?
Yeah. I think the complexity of the air problems and of environmental problems more broadly really does require a broad public understanding and a kind of increasing support for what might be called civic technoscience, for people really being engaged in understanding the technology and capturing their own sense of it. And I think that creating that kind of a populace or supporting the public and being in that relationship to these issues requires healthy, vibrant educational programs around air quality. I understand that schools are massively challenged by all that they're trying to do. One thing that we have done recently with the district that I think offers kind of a model for other programs around the state has been to a small program that will incentivize a number of schools to develop extracurricular club-like activities to get young people engaged around these issues. California has developed and tested a number of curriculum from K all the way through the junior college around issues of environmental awareness, environmental stewardship. And yet there really haven't been a place for them, for these kinds of curricula in the overall, at least the schools in the Valley. And so I do hope that the district and other policymaking can support that kind of educational opportunity.
One more question, Senator De Leon. SB 719 kind of created one of the slots that you're actually feeling that you've been appointed to, which is reserved for a practicing physician or a researcher with expertise in health effects of air pollution. Given that expertise, given the role you play on the board as a whole, how do you think your role is different than other board members, or is it?
That's a great question.
I wish I could take credit for it.
I guess that I on one hand, I think my role is different in that you know, as an academic, I have more time to really pore over every document and to check out every reference and to check in with lots of scientists around the state about the issues that we're describing. And so I think I can really play an important role in helping people understand. On the other hand, I think that all of us serving on this board have a distinct obligation to look for those ways that we can balance seeking economic prosperity and equitable and open economy in the Valley, while at the same time producing a cleaner environment that protects population health. So I think I share that responsibility with everybody on the board.
And you believe that balance does exist?
I do. I really do believe that balance is possible.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Ooh, there we go. I appreciate Ms. Mitchell's question, because I'm looking up the makeup of your colleagues and your peers on the Pollution Control District, and you're the only one, I'm going to make this assumption, who is a PhD as the ED of the Central Valley Health Policy Institute. Obviously, you have a different perspective. The vast majority of the members of this committee are elected officials at the local level, whether city council or county board of supervisor. So you do have a very unique perspective And I think because of that perspective, you have a perhaps larger role to play on this district board, especially given in light of Kern County, Stanislaus, and everything in between. The air quality is not the very best, and the public health aspects are especially acute. So I really appreciate the question from Ms. Mitchell, because you are not like any other member of this committee, where it's a de facto appointment by mere nature that you happen to be a county board supervisor from a particular county. And being that you have a PhD, and the other colleague here who has an MD, who I think we did, because I was part of the confirmation period when I was a former member of the Rules Committee, when he used to sit right over there, where Ms. Leyva currently sits, Mr. Sheriff's. You play a much larger role in providing the empirical data, for your colleagues. Excuse me. Now, the issue with regards to economic growth, especially in an area with high unemployment rates, is a really critical issue. And I don't think there's a perfect answer. I appreciate your answer that there is a balance. I'm not quite sure if there is a balance. I think there's an imbalance. There's an imbalance with the disproportionate amount of air pollution that your children suffer from. I think there's an imbalance with the incredible high unemployment rate in your geographical area that you govern. You do govern through the pollution control district. So this is what we're trying to wrestle with together, Democrats as well as Republicans. How can we move forward economic growth while at the same time reduce the harmful impacts of both carbon as well as criteria pollutants? So it's something that we're all searching for right now. But I'm glad that Ms. Mitchell brought this up, because I do believe that you play an extra special role in terms of your voice on this district, especially given the incredible needs of this geographical area. With that, Mr. Canella.
Thank you very much. I had a nice discussion with Mr. Captaman. Is that how you say your last name?
Capitman. What the hippies say, the dentist.
Captaman. And it's a very interesting dilemma. I have everybody that's on that board, for the most part, is a friend of mine. Most of those elected officials I've served with, and I very much trust their judgment, and I think that they're doing the best they can to weigh the clean air versus employment. And it is very difficult. You mentioned that we need to have good jobs that are closer. We basically need to live closer to high-paying jobs. And that's difficult when we have a perceived punitive system that drives businesses out of the valley and ships them off to other states because they can't be competitive. So, I live in an area, Stanislaus County. I represent a large part of the valley. We've got lower than the state average college graduates. We've got lower than the state average wages. We've got higher than the state average unemployment. So we're very challenged. And then on top of that, we've got air quality issues that largely are not our fault. I thought it was from the Bay Area. I'll continue to blame them. You said it was from maybe China blowing over, but regardless, it ultimately lands in the Central Valley, and then we are left dealing with the consequences of poor health, but also our higher unemployment. So I do think, although he does have a specific role, they're ultimately judges, and they look at evidence and they make decisions, and hopefully they weigh a whole lot of different issues. And you told me that although you have a specific part, you don't ever want to create regulations that are impossible to meet. And in a lot of cases they are. There are regulations that come down that the technology is not there for the businesses to meet that. And what happens is they get fined. Some of the businesses can't leave and take their businesses elsewhere, and so they go out of business, or they just barely get by because they're paying all these fines, or businesses leave. And we do have a whole host of businesses that have moved out of the state to deal with it. So it's a very difficult position to be in, but we do have to weigh both circumstances, because if everybody's unemployed in the valley, which a lot of us are, there won't be a lot of poor quality because nobody will be driving, right? So we should try to focus what were the remedy on things that really help. If we could educate more kids, they would make better choices. If we had a higher education rate and a college education rate, more businesses would move into the valley. So I think a lot of times we do things that, they sound good, and we can pat each other on the back and say we're making things better, but in reality we're making things worse. So you gave me your commitment today that you would always try to find a balance. You would try to do the things that don't hurt businesses to the point where they go out of business, But of course, I think one thing that's great about California is that we have raised the bar. We've raised the bar in renewable energy, and consequently, we have a lot of new technology because of that. We have a lot of rooftop solar, a lot of other areas. The air quality in the Central Valley, I was raised there, I have asthma, is the best it's ever been. It's much better, and it's largely because of the things that we've done. But if we want to really improve air quality in the Central Valley, let's build ACE Train from where it currently terminates, and let's build it down in Merced. And let's build it down to Bakersfield, where people can get off the roads, because those high-paying jobs are not in the Central Valley, they're in the Bay Area. And all of our folks drive there every single day. So let's put them on mass transit and get them there in a timely, affordable way, and we can make a huge difference. Largely, your role is on stationary issues, lawnmowers and weed eaters and burning, and you've done a pretty good job. The board has done a good job with that. So hopefully we'll continue to move forward in that direction. I'm going to support your nomination today, but I want to have a dialogue so that we can talk about these things, because air quality, we absolutely have to clean it up. We've got to do better. Our kids deserve the best air quality possible, but I also want their parents to have a job where they can afford to provide for the family. So.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cannella. And Mr. Kaplan, you better be careful, because all of these colleagues are Mr. Cannella's friends. Right? So it's a college squad. We're going to go with our Vice Chair, Ms. Fuller.
One thing I had a chance to share with Senator Fuller was just how rewarding it is to see the pride and sense of accomplishment that the board members do feel about the achievements that have been made, and the broad sense of fear and just the intellectual challenge about how to continue that progress. So it's a fascinating group of people to work with.
I enjoyed our interview, and I appreciate your perspective on how you blend your special role as a medical expert with the larger role of the board to govern sort of stationary emissions, and so I think my compliments are to you on we've talked about what some of those rewards were, particularly cleaner burning fireplaces and burn policies that were helpful. The secondary thing I think you really brought up was outreach to education and how we can help educate the population that lives in that area, how to, as we create a future that's brighter for them. But I think the hard question still is, and so I'd like this one sort of for the record, is when considering adopting new regulations, how do you prioritize among the competing factors of affordable technology, cost effectiveness, public health, and the needs for transport in our district to jobs, because it's just a fact of life there that we're fairly spread out, and that's probably not going to change in the future. So prioritizing, the fixes, prioritizing the issues you take on. What is your criteria for that?
It's hard. I think that our function is to do the best we can to meet the national air quality standards with respect to criterion pollutants. And so I think the focus has got to be on that goal. We need to craft policies that work, policies that actually meet their goals, and we need to implement and administer those policies in ways that people feel helped and encouraged to comply. And so I think what I'm always looking for is what is the least intrusive way to get the most improvement possible in air quality. And I think that's the balance that I seek is getting the most air quality we can with the least intrusion in other aspects of people's lives.
And we didn't have much time to talk about how Kern County has really emerged from just a gas and oil county to an alternative energy producer as well, and how that blend of bringing more power to the grid at maybe a lower carbon footprint probably isn't highlighted much by the board, but probably should be. I think that most of you know, you've heard me say it 1,000 times, that my district produces in Kern, one of my 3 counties, 80% of the gas and oil for the state, and about 80% of the solar energy for the state, and about 70% of the wind for the state. But I don't think when it comes to talking about improvements that our county has made, that that's really considered. And it's a very important piece. So I'm hoping that there'll be something about that you'll do your reading, late night reading, to help us factor that in, because we are trying and we're doing a lot, but I think we get a lot of bad raps when people don't realize the full picture.
And that's a very good point, Senator Fuller. You, I think, are solely responsible for a rebranding, if you will, of Kern County, known as an oil town, Bakersfield, Kern County. But it's, aside from fossil fuels, renewable energy is alive and well with regards to solar as well as wind. So it's been rebranded because of you, so no doubt about it. Thank you. Last but not least, Ms. Leyva.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. Good afternoon, Mr. Kapitman. First, let me just say thank you for your willingness to do this job. It's obviously it's a difficult task, and thank you for your willingness to help all of us. I represent the good folks who live in SD20, commonly known as the Inland Empire, and we have certainly had our fair share of bad air quality over the years. I grew up in the Inland Empire, and I remember smog days, and I remember when we couldn't go out for recess. And most days now we can see the mountains. So we are doing something right without opening a can of worms. Part of that is CEQA reform. CEQA has helped with that. But the job that you do also helps. I also agree with you in that people should be able to live and work in their community. Many of the folks in my district drive almost 60 miles a day into Los Angeles. So I see part of my job as a legislator helping good jobs come into SD20 so that those folks don't have to drive that far. But I also think that good jobs and protecting the environment, most specifically our air quality, are not mutually exclusive. I think that we can do both of them together and create a better future for our children. So thank you for your commitment.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Leyva. Mr. Kapitman, I'm going to give you something that's very specific. Can I give you a number? In this current year, because of SB 535, because of cap and trade dollars, and be mindful, this is before the transportation fuels that come under the cap in 2015, there is $83.2 million that can be spent in the current year for communities that are disproportionately impacted by bad air quality. And that money must be expended as per the Cal screen that you made reference to in those specific hot spots throughout the state of California. $208 million must benefit these communities. Obviously, these are resources that can be expended outside of the Cal screen, but have to have a benefit to those communities that are disproportionately impacted by air quality, bad air quality. So those are really concrete numbers that you can take to your colleagues, given the fact that, again, from the south is Kern County, all the way to the northern tip of Stanislaus and Merced, and everything in between, Tulare, Kings County, Fresno, the air quality is not where it should be. And there's a whole variety of factors. Obviously, Mr. Cannella makes reference to carbon that is produced elsewhere, and then unfortunately, because of the winds, they travel in from other parts, more specifically from the Bay Area, as well as carbon coming in from other parts of the world, which I know scientifically it has already been verified carbon from large coal burning facilities in China that have made it all the way to to California. So there's an amazing irony that our children breathe in black carbon or CO2 that has come in, not CO2, but we have been impacted by other criteria pollutants. And at the same time, through the goods movement, through the Port of LA and Port of Long Beach, that manufactured good coming to the consumer here in California as well as elsewhere that was produced, in China, an import of coal coming from the parts of the U.S. into China. It's this full circle, but not a good circle, obviously. So we have the resources necessary because, as I think we all agree, carbon as well as short-lived criteria pollutants is not a Republican issue. It's not a Democratic issue. Not a centrist issue. It's a human issue, especially for young children whose lungs are at peril because of the astronomical asthma rates. And I can tell you, as the representative of a good portion of Los Angeles, along with Ms. Mitchell, that all the freeways that crisscross our district, the 2, the 5, the 10, the 101, the 110, the 710, the 405 freeway, 60 and 10, where Ms. Leyva is at, in between parts of 10 and near the 15 freeway, because of this tailpipe moving emissions, it has a really serious public health impact that costs us tens of billions of dollars on an annual basis. So there's a fine balance, no question. We want economic growth. We have to demonstrate economic growth. Simultaneously, we have to protect the health of our community, but especially our children. With that, I'd like to entertain a motion. Support. I keep doing this. Those in support of our nominee today, please come on up.
Thank you. My name is Will Barrett. I'm a senior policy analyst for the American Lung Association California. I'm also speaking today for the Coalition for Clean Air and the 70 organizations that make up. I'm sorry. Gotcha. And the 70 organizations that make up the Central Valley Air Quality Coalition, or CVAC. We're all in strong support of Dr. Kapman's appointment to the governing board today, and urge you to move this forward. As you heard, Dr. Kapman is committed to building coalitions and leadership for community health in the San Joaquin Valley, and to really highlighting the air pollution burdens on Valley children, seniors, and disadvantaged communities through his research and educational efforts. Since his appointment to the board, he's already demonstrated his commitment to disadvantaged communities by meeting regularly with community members to hear concerns, formulate solutions, and to bring a high level of analysis of the community impacts to the board decisions. Given the severe nature of air pollution challenges facing Valley residents, Dr. Kapman's experience, expertise, and dedication are vital to leading the Valley to a prosperous and clean air future. So we urge you to support this nomination, and thank you, Dr. Kapman, for all your service. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Had I known the American Lung Association as well as the Coalition for Clean Air were going to come up and be supportive of you strongly, then we wouldn't have taken so long with the questions today. Any other folks in support? Seeing none, those in opposition? I see no opposition. Now, can we entertain a motion? We have a motion made from the man from Ceres, Stanislaus. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Senators Canella? Aye. Canella, aye. Leyva? Aye. Leyva, aye. Mitchell? Aye. Mitchell, aye. Fuller? Aye. Fuller, aye. DeLeon?
Aye.
DeLeon, aye.
Let the record note that it is a unanimous bipartisan vote. Congratulations, Mr. Kapman. Thank you very much. Okay, colleagues, we're going to move on forward with our agenda. We have two other governor's appointees before us that are not subject to appear. However, they are subject to confirmation. We have File item number 2, that is Catherine C. Pettibone, member of the Boating and Waterways Commission, as well as Mr. Randy M. Short, again, member of the Boating and Waterways Commission. If there's any questions or commentaries, I see none, can I entertain a motion? We have a motion made by Ms. Mitchell. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Senators Canella?
Aye.
Canella, aye. Leyva? Leyva, aye. Mitchell? Mitchell, aye. Fuller? Fuller, aye. DeLeon?
Aye.
DeLeon, aye.
Okay, let the record show a unanimous vote. We will send these two appointees to the floor. We are going to move now to file items number 3, 4, 5, as 6. These are floor acknowledgements.
You can add 7 as well.
We're going to add one. We got one. Let me see.
Yes.
We have file items number 3 through 7, 7 being a walk-on by Senator Block. I believe, colleagues, that you have it before you. Can I entertain a motion? We have a motion made by Ms. Mitchell. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Senators Canella?
Aye.
Canella, aye. Leyva? Leyva, aye. Mitchell? Mitchell, aye. Fuller? Fuller, aye. DeLeon?
Aye.
DeLeon, aye.
Okay, measures pass 3 through 7, and I want to thank my colleagues. We're going to adjourn this committee hearing, but we're going to go into an executive session. Okay. It won't be long.